Mandy and I welcome you back to day 4 of 25 of readings in Advent. We're going to read Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, and to comfort all who mourn, and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. So many great prophecies in there. Let's go back and look. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom from the captives, and release from darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. So Isaiah is saying this, and he was going around preaching good news to the poor. Back then, the people were very poor. I mean, financially poor and just desolate many times, but he would still preach the good news to them. Now, it's interesting, in Luke 4, Jesus stood in the temple, and he actually said these words, because these words were about him. So I love all these prophecies that Isaiah is saying, and that in the future come true about Jesus. How he was born, where he was born, his mother, just everything about him was already prophesied, because God knows everything. God knows how the world's going to go. So it's really interesting how many of these prophecies came true. And then he goes on to say, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And that is true. So many times God has turned my ashes into beauty. So many times. We had a really hard time when my husband had a terrible accident and we didn't really have any money. God just got us through. I'm sure all of you have had hard times as well. God will get us through those hard times, and he promises to be with us. And that's part of what the Hopecandle is about. We have hope in this world because of God and because of Jesus. God loves us so much that he sent his son. So we just, even when we're having terrible days, we can still just be calm and rest on him. Just like Mandy's resting in my arms right now, we can rest in God's arms because we know he sent Jesus to come and preach the good news and to save us. And because of all of those things, we have hope. So remember that Advent means coming, right? The first Advent, when Jesus came the first time as a baby, he did that. He came to bind up the brokenhearted and proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners. The next part of that verse, though, is his second Advent. When he comes back again, he is coming with vengeance, because he is going to come as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So there's 2 prophecies built into that verse. I hope you take comfort in these verses today, that he has come to set the prisoners free and to take our ashes and turn them into beauty, especially if you're having a hard time, and maybe Christmas is a tough time. It's a tough time for a lot of people. It's going to be hard this year. My mom recently died. It'll be our first Christmas without her. But I know that God can take all of our sadness, all of our mourning, all of our ashes, and turn it into something beautiful, because he promises to do that. So my friends, if you're not looking forward to Christmas, I hope you let God change your heart. You do look forward to him coming, because he loves you and he can turn any bad situation into a good one. So remember that, and come back again tomorrow. We can hear more about the God of peace and the God of mercy from the next day of Advent readings. And I would love to answer any question you have about Advent, or the Christmas story, or how to put your faith in Jesus. Just contact me through my website, nancyjoy2you, or email me at nancyjoy2you@gmail.com. I hope you have a blessed Advent, receiving his love and shining his light back out for everyone around.